So good afternoon and welcome to the class. Moving on with our chapter on data handling where we are doing the pie charts. So we will take up one pie chart today and try to see how we can get information out of a pie chart. Because till the previous class we were given the information and we have put it in the form of a pie chart. Now if a pie chart itself is given to you, you should get meaningful information out of it. So that's the next point that we are going to see. All right. Such reading of a pie chart is very important because when I'm going to do the test on this chapter on data handling sometime next week, or maybe by the end of this week also, we have two chapters waiting to be assessed. That is the means we had the constructions and now followed by the data handling.
Ma'am,
So
end
don't
of this week
postpone your
we are
work.
having other test also, ma'am.
All
English.
right. So I can go to the next week. Don't worry. Don't worry. I can be a little flexible on that. Which test do you have this weekend?
My English.
Ma'am, English, but it is a little big, 5 chapters at a time.
Oh, okay. Okay. I can go to the next week. Maybe I can put it on a Monday. All right. So that we don't have to discuss too much now. Okay. If you already have a test, I'm not coming in your way. Okay. So we were with a problem in the exercise, which we had to abruptly stop yesterday. So we will take it up today. Let me see if I can share my screen and show you the problem. There was some confusion regarding the question itself because there was something shown in mine and something else was getting projected in yours. Are you seeing my screen? In my screen?
Yes,
If you have the
ma'am.
textbook, well and good, you can look at the textbook also. So because this is from the digital form, so should not be varying from the question that you have in your textbook. So let me read the question. The first question we will look at it from the board, but there are a few things that you have to focus on in this question. So let me read the problem. Try to follow. A survey was made to find the type of music that a certain group of young people liked in a city. Adjoining pie chart shows the findings of this survey. So there are people who are liking different varieties of music, and that is shown as a pie chart here in the figure. All right, now looking at this pie chart, there are so many things quickly we are able to make out. See, there is some big area, there are smaller areas, there is a very small area, etc. So by just looking at this, can you tell me which is the kind of music liked by most people?
Ma'am, light
Light
music.
Ma'am,
music.
light
Yeah,
music.
light music. Because you can see that sector is
Like
big.
music.
And which is the music which is not liked by many people?
Ma'am,
And
classical music.
Ma'am,
classical
classical
music.
music.
Classical. Because only 10% of the people like classical music. So these are instant information that you can get from a pie chart by just looking at it through one glance. All right, now we have certain questions following this graph. From this pie chart, answer the following. If 20 people liked classical music, now why it is telling 20 people liked classical music? Already it is given 10%. Then what is this 20 people?
Ma'am, 10%
Ma'am,
is equal to 20
10% is
people.
equals to 20 people, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Based on these
10% of
people,
what? 10% of
ma'am,
what?
10% is represented here. It as classical.
All right. That I understood.
Ma'am,
10%.
10% of people is equal to 20 people, ma'am.
10% of people is 20 people.
Ma'am,
10% of total population is equal to 20 people. That means out of all these people who are the total number of people or the entire population, only 10% are liking the classical music. Now, this 20 people means 10% of this total number of people who are surveyed is equal to 20. That's what it means. So, now what are they saying? If 20 people liked classical music, how many young people were surveyed? So, we have to generate a percentage, a fraction, and equate it to 20. So, that is what we will see a little later. I'll just show it on the board. Now, we'll go to the second question. We'll come back again to the first. Which type of music is liked by maximum number of people?
ma'am, light music.
Ma'am,
Light
light
music. We
music.
have already seen that, yes. Then the third one, if a cassette company were to make 1,000 CDs, how many of each type would they make? So if a cassette company wants to make CDs based on this survey, that certain people like certain types of music.
Ma'am,
So
for
how
this
many of
question, we need
each
to know
type
the
would
first
they
question
make?
answer.
Yeah, correct. You should know the total number of people being surveyed, for which you have to go and find out what is the total number of people surveyed because nobody told us here in the pie chart But what is the total? It is only the percentage of population liking different types of music is given to us. So now we have to go and find out what is the total number. So I think I'll now stop this share here because I have to get back to the board where I'm going to show you the recording because I'm at home. I am getting back to the recording that I have.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in the question we should write the P chart, So should we make the
Pie
exact
chart. What
measurement?
is P chart, my dear? Pie chart. Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, should we make the exact measurement?
No, I'll come back to that a little later. First, give me some time to tell you what you have to do with those two questions. I'll come back. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we already have from the pie chart that 10% of the entire circle are classical music liking people. Now, is it audible?
Yes, ma'am, it is audible.
Yes, ma'am. It is
Okay.
audible.
The question is, if 20 people liked classical music, how many young people were surveyed? What is the total number of people who were surveyed? How will you find this? Any idea? Only percentage is given to me. That is 10% like classical, 20% like semi-classical, 40% like light music, and 30% like folk music. Now, based on this percentages, I have to go and find out what is the total number of people who are surveyed. Now, classical music. People who like classical music is 20%. That's what we get from the pie chart. So 20% means it is 20 by 100 into the total. Now don't get worried, I'm writing 20%. I have corrected it later on. Okay, so I'll correct it as 10%. Don't get worried. Okay. Number of people. Let X, suppose we don't know how many people are getting surveyed. So let X be the number of people. So these many people are getting surveyed, and hence we know that 20% of the total people are classical music lovers. Okay. So now that is given as 20. 20% of the total number of people is given to be equal to 20 itself. Can you understand the information given in the first part? If 20 people like classical music, okay, classical is 10%, sorry. 10% is the classical music liking people. Now that 10% means it is a part of the total people who are present. We don't know how many people were surveyed. The pie chart is telling me out of so many people surveyed, 40% are liking light music, 20% are liking semi-classical, 10% are liking classical, and 30% are liking folk music. Now the information given is, if 10% of the total number of people are liking classical music, the number is given to me as 20. This is the percentage and this is the actual number. So 10% of the total number of people will exactly give me the actual number of people who are liking it. Percentage in the actual number ke hoggtiru. 10% of the total number means it is equal to classical liking people, which is given as 20. Now can you see an equation form here? This will become 20 equals x divided by 10. Can you see the simple equation form here? Do you think you will be able to solve the simple equation? The division is getting transposed, the 10 is going there, so it will become 20 into 100 is equal to x, or your x is 200. That means 200 people were getting surveyed in the entire place wherever the survey is done. out of 200, only 20 people are liking classical because 10% of 200 is 20. That's how you confirm your answer. So in the pie chart, even if you don't know how many people are getting surveyed, if you know one of the information, that is the actual number of one portion of the pie chart, then you are in a position to go back and tell what is the total number of people who are getting surveyed. All right. So this is one information you are able to get from the pie chart. Now moving, I hope it is clear. Any doubts so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll move on to the second one. Which type of music is liked by maximum number of people? This is very simple. I already asked this question.
Light music.
Yes, it is the light music. If a cassette company were to make 1,000 CDs, how many of each type would they make? Now, this survey is done with a purpose. It is not that simply somebody went and took the survey to find out who is liking what kind of music. Now, there is a cassette company who is manufacturing CDs according to the interest of people. Now, suppose I am having a cassette company and I make CDs. So, what is that which will help me to tell which kind of music I have to prepare maximum? As a cassette company, I want to sell maximum number of cassettes, correct? That should be my motto. If I am a person who is doing a business where I am selling cassettes, what kind of cassettes will I try maximum to sell, which is liked by maximum number of people? Is it true or not?
Yes, ma'am.
So that survey is actually made for this reason only. So if a cassette company wants to start making cassettes, he will definitely depend on the liking of the public, because the public is the consumer. He is the one who will buy. So if maximum people like something, will I make that kind of music, or will I make a cassette which is liked by minimum number of people?
Ma'am, maximum number of people.
Yes, I will try to make which is liked by maximum number of people because I want to sell my cassettes. So if I want to sell my cassettes, I have to keep the interest of maximum number of people. So here, if a cassette company were to make 1,000 CDs, how many of each type would he make? So this survey will allow me to tell how many of each type. Because in the whole population, 40% are liking light music. So now I have 1,000 cassettes which I want to make. That is, the total number is available with me. I have 1,000 cassettes in my hand. So each variety, how much will I give? Now I will tell total number of cassettes or CDs is 1,000. I can't go more than this, I can't make less than this. 1,000 is fixed, total CDs. Out of which 40% will be allocated for light music. Why? Because 40% of the population like the light music. So I have to find out what is 40% of 1,000. Alright? 1,000 purti cassette nanatra ide. Adರಲ್ಲಿ 40% I have to give it to light music. So how will I find number of CDs for, I'll start from the light music because that is the maximum. So light music, because 40% is there, the liking. So 40% of, that is 40 by 100 into 1,000. All this we have done in fractions and percentages in class 6. Percentage of the total. When you say, you should always write it as a fraction. This is a decimal fraction. You are converting the percentage as for 100. So 40 by 100 into the total number of CDs is 1,000. So how many CDs for the light music you will make? These two zeros get cancelled. 40 into 10, 400. Like this, do you think you will be able to find out how many CDs for semi-classical, how many CDs for classical, and how many for folk? Do you think you will be able to find out the individual
Yes,
number?
ma'am.
Because the percentage is given to you, you have to convert that into a decimal fraction and multiply with the total number of CDs which are available. So this portion you should be able to complete. Once you complete that, then maybe we can move on to the next problem. Okay, could you complete that? I am the hope that you will be able to complete. I am skipping on to the next one, or should I do it? You should only tell me. Can you find out like this for for classical, semi-classical, and the folk music? Percentage is given. Percentage into the total number will give you individual number of CDs for each kind of music. Do you think you'll be able to complete it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we will
Yes,
move on
ma'am.
to the second one now. I won't be discussing many problems. If I am able to discuss even another one or two problems, should be enough for the pie chart. Maybe tomorrow, do I have a class with you? Yeah, maybe. Do I have a class with you tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is the class? It should not clash with my exam. Okay, tomorrow it is 12:20 to 1. No. Oh, tomorrow is that 2 to 2:40, is that? Wednesday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll give you some work because at 2 to 2:40 we are not meeting physically, no? So I'll give you a little work so that you can complete that tomorrow. Okay, now we are going on to the second one. I hope you have understood this problem. Any doubts so far?
Ma'am, what are the minimum number of measurements to find a total of a pie chart?
Minimum number of what? I didn't follow. Minimum number of?
Ma'am, if we have only the percentage, we can't find the total number now, ma'am.
Percentage of what? To draw the pie chart, are you asking?
No, ma'am. To read the pie chart, here in the first question, the pie chart has given that they didn't mention total. There is only percentage.
You can find out the total. No, that's what I have done it now.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
each of
There
them,
should
you
be
can find
value
out.
for the percentage, no, ma'am.
Percentage
Here it
itself is
has
value,
given
my
one
dear.
of the yeah, ma'am.
Percentage
Here in
itself is
the
value, no. How can percentage be different from value? Percentage itself is representing what portion of the entire circle is allotted for a particular type of music lovers. Percentage value. ಅದನ್ನೇ value. ಅದನ್ನ ನಿನ್ನ ಏನ್ value ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ?
no, no,
I think
ma'am.
there is some misinterpretation in the way you are asking the question. Relax for some time and find out really what you are not understanding and let me know. Okay. Okay. With this problem, I think it is clear. I have one more pie chart which I have discussed in the video, so I'll play it through. You can see it and then complete it at your leisure. But I'm going to play because I don't want to miss that pie chart also. I think I'm discussing the second question here, correct? A group of 360 people were asked to vote for their favorite season from the three seasons, that is rainy, winter, and summer. So there are three seasons and you have to tell which is your favorite season. This is how the survey went on with 360 people. Now the diagram is shown there. You can see there is summer, rainy, and winter. Summer number of votes were 90. For rainy it was 120 and for winter it was 150. Now it's a very straight question. Which season got the maximum votes? Which season got the maximum votes?
season.
Yeah, winter, because the number is 150. Find the central angle for each sector. So this central angle is what we discussed in the video in the last class. Now quickly I'll try to tell you what are the 3 or 4 columns that you have to make if you have to prepare the pie chart for this information. Now this information is very simple because there are only 3 seasons which are present. So your tabulation should be ready, only then your pie chart can get ready, right? So we have the seasons first. And the seasons are only 3 varieties: the summer, the rainy, and winter. Alright, and here the number of votes for each of them is given as okay. For the summer you get 90 votes. For the rainy you get 120. 120.
150.
Make this column. I'll just come back. I have somebody waiting. Make this column. All right. So the next column that you have to make is the fraction, and from the fraction you have to find the central angle. So this is what you've been trying to do in the previous video if you have watched clearly. All right. So first you will get a fraction, then you will get central angle. Am I correct? This is what I think I have spoken in the previous video also. Okay, now to get the fraction, what you must know what is the total number here. Only then you will get summer is 90 divided by the total. So add these three, what will you get? 90, 120 and 150?
360.
Yes, 360. So the fraction of people who like summer is 90 on 360. And here it is 120 on 360. And this is 150 on 360. Then when you want the central angle, can you remember what you have done?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do? When you want to convert the fraction to the central angle, because central
Ma'am,
angle
into
will tell you
360.
how you can divide the circle into various parts. Yes, the fraction has to be multiplied with 360. So it is so simple here. The 360 in the numerator and denominator will get cancelled and you will have just 90 degrees. Similarly, here it will be 120 divided by 360 into 360. So that will give you a 120 degrees is the central angle. Then 150 divided by 360 into 360 will give you 150 degrees. So first you must have the column having the fractions. Then the fraction, when it is getting converted to the central angle, you have to multiply with 360 to get the corresponding central angles. So once these central angles are obtained or you get them, then drawing the pie chart is very easy. How will you start? You will take a circle of any convenient radius. Any small convenient radius, first draw the radius, one of the radius, mark this as the center of the circle. The first angle you will take will be 90 degrees. So with your protractor, you will draw this 90 degrees and tell this is the portion for summer. You can write 90 volts there. You can box it up like that. Then the second angle that you want at the center is 120. So where will you keep your protractor, on the solid line or on the dotted lines? From here, I have to get 120.
On the dotted.
Now,
On the dotted.
you will keep the protractor. This is 90, 120 will be somewhere here. Okay, this is the portion of rainy season, which is liked by 120. And automatically the other portion, because there are only 3 portions that you cut out of this entire circle, the third portion will exactly measure 150 degrees. You can confirm it. And here you can write winter, which is liked by 150 feet. So this is how your pie chart should be ready. As I was telling you, you can shade it in different manners. See, I can give oblique shading for one portion. I can put some other, see, I put star marks. This is the other portion. You can use your creativity to shade it in a different way. And maybe in this one, you simply keep the dots. This is another way of segregating them. Or if you have color pencils, you can do it in different colors as you like. So this is the way in which information is gathered from a pie chart, or when it is supposed that you want to draw the pie chart for a given information, both the ways the questions you should be able to handle. All right. So I will give you 2 or 3 more problems which you can do it in your classwork and complete. Okay, come to page number 81. Should I share it or you're looking at your textbook? So this one problem you will draw the pie chart. The first problem also you will complete, because tomorrow's session is between 2 and 2:40. It is for writing back and completing your notes. I want you to do the second problem in page number 81. Can you read what is the problem written there? You can try this. Think, discuss and write.
Choose of food for a group of people.
Can you see?
For a group of
Indian,
people.
South Indian, Chinese, others. So there are 4 portions into which your circle will be segregated. That is the North Indian food, South Indian food, Chinese and others. Total is already given to you. So you will make the next column, which will be the fraction, which will be 30.
Actually,
Yeah, tell me.
actually the question which you're telling in the video,
Huh.
that is
It's not there in your
the
textbook.
Ma'am, it is there in the textbook, but it's there for the portfolio, no?
It's okay. I did not make it a portfolio activity for them. For you, it's a portfolio activity. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay, all right, ma'am. I thought I would write it in the notebook.
No need, no need. If that was given
Ma'am,
as portfolio for you, you do it as a portfolio only. Yeah, Arun.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in the thing discussed, right, which you gave for a portfolio, the first question can be written as a histogram, or as a pie chart. Both can be we can use, but which to use, ma'am?
If you think both can be used, you have to show me both of them.
Okay, ma'am.
That depends on your thinking. I want to see how different each one is. Okay. You should not have
Okay.
told that here. You should not have told that here. That's all right. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, here it is asked only which form, but you told to do even the graph and show.
Yes. 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 If you're claiming for more than one, you have to show both. Because I want you
Okay.
to realize something by doing that. That's exactly what I want to see.
Okay.
Okay. Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'll stop the video here. I'll stop the share and come back because I think that is only a discussion of how the remaining problems are done. That is almost discussed. So I will stop here. I'll come back to my screen only. Now I'm going to take another 10 minutes to introduce what is chance and probability because I have some nice, very appealing videos with me, very short videos for 5 minutes each. So let me see if I can play at least 2 of them, which gives you a lot of introduction on what is chance, why it has become probability. Is there a difference between what we call as a chance or a probability? And the basic definitions are also there. So because I am recording this, that video also will get recorded along here. All right. So we will straight go to the video because I don't want to give any introduction about the video itself. Right. Okay.
Suppose you are playing a game of snakes and ladder with your friend. You have to walk only 3 places to win, and it is your turn to throw the dice. If you throw the dice, will you get the number 3? Think. You cannot say with certainty whether you will get the number 3 or not. But there is a possibility or chance of getting 3. Can you tell me what is the chance of getting 3 in this situation? Think. Let me tell you. Throwing the dice is an experiment which can have outcome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. We say that in the experiment of throwing a dice, the total number of outcomes is 6, since we are required to get 3. Therefore, the number of desired results, that is, the number of favorable outcomes is 1. In this way, we can say that the number of favorable outcomes is 1 out of all 6 outcomes. This is why we say that the probability of getting a favorable outcome is 1 out of 6, that is 1 by 6. To know the probability better, let's understand some of the terms used in its context. An experiment in which more than one result is possible and the result cannot be accurately predicted is called a random experiment.
See, these are some definitions I want you to write down in your notebook. So don't be in a hurry to write it now, but make a note that you have to write all this in your notebook. All right. I shall continue. Like this, I'll pause in between and tell you what all you have to write. Clear?
Can you give any example of a random experiment? Think. Let me tell you, tossing a coin, getting a candy from the candy box without looking into it, etc. are all the random experiment. Can you tell me if the experiments like to taste the sweets and find if it is sweet or not, to drop the stone from a certain height and see if it hits the ground or not, are also random experiment? think. Sweets will always be sweet. Similarly, if anything falls from some height, it definitely comes to the ground. That means, in such situation, we know in advance the result of such experiments. Therefore, we cannot call them random experiments. Now think, if we toss a coin, whether the chance of getting a head will be greater or the chance of getting a tail will be greater. Think. On tossing a coin, the chance of getting a head is equal to the chance of getting a tail. We say that the outcomes are equally likely. Now imagine.
Now do you understand why do we toss a coin to decide who starts a game? Even in cricket, when you see, there is a toss at the beginning of a game to decide who is going to bat first or who is going to be on the field. So why do you think tossing a coin is the most fair way in which something can be decided?
Ma'am, because it has only two outcomes, head or tail, and it has equal outcomes, even head.
Yeah,
and,
equal
tail
chance. Yeah, nobody can predict in advance what is going to be the outcome. Either it can be head or a tail, and there is no bias in this. That means nobody can tell the chance of getting a head is more than chance of getting a tail. Not at all. That's why tossing a coin will always give me equal chance of having a head shown up or a tail shown up. So that's why tossing a coin is a very, very fair method of deciding who starts first. All right, in any game, whichever game it would be. All right. So I wanted to focus your attention on that. That's why I had to pause.
If we write numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 on the faces of a matchbox and toss the matchbox, will the probability of getting each number in this case be equal? Think. You're right. Since the size of faces of the matchbox are different, the probability of getting each digit will also be different. Therefore, here the outcomes cannot be equally likely. Each outcome of an experiment or a collection of outcomes make an event.
Again, here I want you to write what is an event. This is the definition for an event. Once you know what is an outcome, then you should be able to tell what is an event also. All right. So this you have to write down in your classwork. Maybe the examples that she is giving for a random experiment and the non-examples, that means those which are not a random experiment, all that also you can include when you write the definition of a particular concept. Okay.
For example, when we rotate a dice, then in this random experiment, getting one of the outcomes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 is an event. Similarly, getting a number which is greater than 3 or getting an even number is also an event. Let's talk about the event of getting a number greater than 3. Here, favorable outcomes are 4, 5 and 6. In this way, there are 3 results of the occurrence for the event of getting number greater than 3. But any number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 can come up in this experiment. So, here the total outcomes are 6 for the event of getting number greater than 3. The probability of an event is the ratio of the number of favorable outcomes of the event to the total number of outcomes in the experiment. Here, the probability of getting a number greater than 3 will be 3 by 6 is equal to 1 by 2.
Here also, I want you to write what is the probability of an event. The formula is to be written as the number of favorable outcomes of an event divided by total number of outcomes of the event. So favorable, you can write down this example also. when you roll a dice, what is the probability of getting a number greater than 3? This you can write it as an example and show how the probability is calculated. All right?
So we can write the definition and all this, and should we draw the dice?
No need, not necessary. Just write down this details, it will do.
Yes, ma'am. The favorable outcomes and the number of favorable outcomes.
Yeah, all that you have to write. Exactly show it like this. All right?
If the event is certain, for example, getting any number from 1 to 6 on the dice, then the probability is 1. And if the event is impossible, like getting the number 7 on the dice, then the probability is 0. But when an event is likely to occur, such as obtaining a number greater than 3, then the probability is greater than 0 but less than 1. In this way, the probability of any event can be 0 or more than it, but 1 or less than it.
This also I want you to make a note. What is the value the probability of an event can have? It should be definitely between 0 and 1, or maximum it can be 0 itself and 1 itself. So that is why that greater than or equal to or less than or equal to is there. Probability will start from 0 and go maximum to 1. It can take any value between 0 and 1, including both 0 and 1 also. So when the probability of an event is exactly equal to 1, we call it a certain event. It will definitely happen. And if the probability of an event is equal to 0, then we say it is an impossible event. It will never happen. Like when you roll a dice, is there any way you can get 7 on the face showing up?
No, ma'am.
Can I get a 7 showing up on any of those faces?
No, ma'am. Only the maximum number in the dice is 6. How can we get
6. So then that event of getting a 7 when I roll a die, I can close my eyes and say it is an impossible event because it is not at all there in the total outcomes. Then how will it come? So such are the ones you should know. See, such kind of questions are very probable in the quiz. What is the maximum value the probability can take? Or what is the range in which the probability of any event lies? All these will come. That's why I'm asking you to make a note of all this in your classwork.
Now, let's look at some situations related to use of chance and probability in real life. During elections, people are asked about their choice. The number of answers received is used to find the probability of winning of each candidate, and exit polls are obtained based on it. Suppose your elder brother has got 85% marks in the government examination. If last time 1,800 students have been selected out of 2,000 candidates who have secured 85% marks, then we can say that the probability of selection of your brother is 1,800 divided by 2,000, that is 9 out of 10. Now, you can find out more such situation by yourself. Today we have learned about chance and probability.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted you to know because it is interesting to have certain figures moving around in the video. So I played the video for you instead of me speaking unnecessarily all the time. So I think that video will be useful for you. Complete all the notes on the inputs that I have given. I have 2 more shorter videos. Maybe we will take them up next class. Okay. So I think I'll stop my recording here.